guys, how you doing? So we're here today to talk about the journey of the song and how technology has heavily affected and progressed music production and songwriting. I hope we can give you guys some inspiration so that if you have passions or interests, you can hopefully turn them into careers one day. I've been very fortunate to do that myself. My name is Nick Gale, but according to Spotify, millions of people a month know me as Digital Farm Animals, and this is my manager Mark.
Hi, most people just call me Mark.
Basically, my musical career or journey started from an early age. I tried a number of different hobbies out. I tried football, I tried tennis. I was terrible at all of them. And then I started singing as I was about 10 years old. I was very fortunate because my parents are both really into music, and around the house and on journeys I would listen to a lot of different things. So one day I might be listening to Genesis or Pink Floyd, and the next day The Prodigy and Fatboy Slim, different DJs. It was kind of the early 2000s when garage and grime was emerging, and I really got into that music. My peers were listening to it. It had a certain characteristic in it that I hadn't heard elsewhere. It was kind of accessible and cheap sounding, but at the same time really exciting because I knew people were making music at these kids and their laptops and bedrooms at home. And I had a laptop and I had a bed, unfortunately. And so I thought that could be a prospect for me. Hand in hand with that, I also was very fortunate to be given a pair of XL500 Gemini turntables for any DJs in here. And I became really into DJing with my best mate, Nick. We DJ whenever we could. Problem was, being young, we had no money. So basically, we decided we'd start a small business, or we thought it was a business, called Manic Promotions, and we'd go and do discos for friends, for schools, basically anyone who'd have us. And any money we make, £50 or whatever it was, we'd go every Sunday and spend it in the vinyl shop. And that was really the beginning, I would say, of my musical career.
Yeah, so Nick and I met after Nick got on his hands and knees and begged me to manage him.
Yeah.
I said no for years, and eventually I relented, and kind of here we are today. Since that point, obviously before then as well, technology's had this huge impact on every industry, as I'm sure we're all aware. In the music business specifically, thankfully for us, it's had a very positive impact in recent years, and now culturally and from a business standpoint, the music business is in a strong place as it's been in decades. What's changed dramatically is the process of how a record is made, so that's both logistically and technically. That process has really been kind of flipped on its head.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, the traditional role of a producer back in the day was someone who was more of a facilitator. They were a background person, a director. They didn't necessarily touch the equipment. They weren't necessarily musical. And songs were made, like the Beatles and stuff, in one studio pretty much, with one song, maybe one songwriter, not many more, one producer, and the artist and musicians. Whereas these days, music's made in studios with people connected via the internet. At the same time, I've been in sessions where there's up to 10 songwriters all connected via Skype at the same time. The possibilities are so much more. It also means that I am left, because a lot of studios still have old equipment, using it for nothing more than balancing my cheap laptop, which is a shame, but the way it is.
I mean, so what we want to do is talk about how technology has affected that change based on our experiences.
Yeah, so kind of building off my musical journey, as I said, I started young, and I got really into DJing, but that wasn't really where my passion was. My passion came, it was the same friend actually, he gave me a CD with some software on it at school one day, and it's called Fruity Loops. It's not a cereal, it's not a game, so apologies for the name. It's actually come a long way since then, and I still use the exact same software today, and it's very powerful now. But back then it was extremely basic. It was basically a sequencer. It was a synthesizer, some very cheap drum sounds, and some effects, so you can manipulate the sounds. But to me, it was the greatest thing I'd ever seen. It was essentially giving an artist a blank piece of paper to create something where in a few hours you could have a complete piece of music starting from nothing. You could manipulate sounds, you could cut up audio, record yourself. And I still today get the same feeling every time I open up the software of excitement at the ability to be able to create and make something out in the world that wasn't there before.
So, fast forward to 2015, we were working away on this Digital Farm Animals artist project, and Nick had just begun the process of writing and producing for other songwriters, artists and musicians, looking for the infamous first cut, as it's called.
And I had a song sent to me by a girl called Lucy. She goes by the name Pause as an artist and songwriter. And back then I wasn't really being sent a lot of music, so for me to receive something that sounded like it had potential was really exciting. And this song I thought could be great, so I reached out and said that I'd like to work on it a few hours after hearing it. And then we kind of discussed what we would do to it.
In a nutshell, because of the change in the speed of communication nowadays and the actual software Nick uses, the process of getting a song made is dramatically different to what it used to be. The software became really, really important to us when Nick realised, in his magnificent ability, that to change sounds and vocals became easy. So that became pivotal when we went to release our first digital farm animal.
So yeah, kind of building on that, Digital Farm Animals is my own project. So I write for other people, but I've also got my own artist project. And the first really important thing that happened to me as an artist was a song called Millionaire with Nelly. Some of you may have heard it. It was actually quite successful, and that was released on Psycho Records, Sony Records. And basically, if you do know the song, you might realise that it's a gang of vocals. It sounds like children singing it. Where in reality, actually, what happened was I didn't have access to a choir of singers. It was just me in my bedroom, and I wanted to create the effect of it having layers and layers of vocals that all sounded almost like had a weird kind of effect of a choir.
So obviously, technology's been vital in how you create records. It's also been really important in the speed of actually making and then releasing records, just like products in every industry. That became pretty important when Nick went to do a record for a bigger DJ.
So yeah, we were really fortunate after the release of this. We had quite a lot of success. It was a hit in the UK and Europe. And as a result, luckily, surprisingly, I got reached out to by a DJ duo. They're called Galantis. And I was a big fan of them. And they basically had heard the song and just told me that they liked something with a similar kind of aesthetic, similar sounding vocal for their project. Problem was we only had about 3 weeks to turn it around because they wanted it for the summer, and it really matters when you get songs going if they're going to be hits in a certain time of the year. And so basically I thought it would be a good idea to go over to a co-writing friend of mine. He actually lives in Swindon of all places, I've got no idea why. And we decided that we were going to try and do something to brief that they'd given us. And about 2 or 3 hours later, we had an idea that we were really proud of. It was called No Money. And we were then, 3 weeks later, found ourselves being flown out to Miami to watch it being played. So fast forwarding to 2017, and I found myself in another setting with other co-writing friends of mine. And obviously we had a bit of success then. We thought we'd try something different. We wrote a piano pop ballad. And we were really happy with the song. We thought it would be really good, but we didn't know quite who for. And one of us came up with this idea to try and pitch it to one of the One Direction guys. I'm sure you all know One Direction. They have a huge fan base. They've got millions of young followers. And I mean, it was a pipe dream idea. And we thought if we tapped into their socials, it would be amazing for us and a great look and connection with them. The problem was we didn't know how to get in touch with them. And we thought the one that we'd go for was Louis Tomlinson, which didn't know how. Yeah, so my job kind of as a manager is to take any problem that he comes up with, which is millions on a daily basis, and try and solve those issues. So in this scenario, it was like getting in touch with the management, getting in touch with the record label, getting in touch with the publisher. Or however cliche it sounds, when it boils down to it, like in any business, it really is the artist's decision, it's the person, the creative's decision. The first true example we had of how social media can actually be really important in creating something tangible. So, this is the Digital Farm Animals pig, for those of you that aren't aware. How are you doing? Nice to see you. The Digital Farm Animals pig is the centre of everything in this digital farm animals world we've created. It's about as much proof as any of you will ever need that with quite a good idea, the power of free technology and a whole load of luck, you can pretty much create a livelihood from nothing. Wouldn't you agree with that, big man? Good. So yeah, Digital Farm Animals as a brand, as you can see, started actually in my when I was at university. I studied law. I did manage to graduate, but I wouldn't really say I succeeded because I failed to get a job for many years. Well, I think I spent most of my time kind of getting thrown out of nightclubs and trying to get a six-pack and failed at both of those things dramatically. Actually, I didn't fail at getting thrown out of nightclubs. But yeah, for me, it's amazing. I can never quite get my head around how we ended up doing what we're doing, and having sold millions of records and worked with such amazing artists. It really does go to show that with a bit of hard work, utilising technology, and with a good brand, anything's possible. You can even end up doing a TED Talk.
So basically, me and Nick started with very, very limited experience, if any. And we had this kind of, we have nothing to lose attitude, and we still feel like that, to be honest. For those of you going into an industry who don't really know, obviously there are these methods and means in place, there are these structures, but something we've taken on board that kind of some of our mentors have told us are there are really no set rules in what is essentially a totally objective industry. It's just about taking advantage of the opportunities. You know, where this is all going in the next 10 years, I guess that's the whole point of this TED Talk, is a really difficult question to answer. For songwriters and producers and artists, technology is developing at such a rapid speed that computers are literally making songs themselves now from scratch. And with social media and communication speeding up, it's exciting though, because it's just going to create more opportunities for us, and it's just about exploiting those. And we have no idea what those opportunities are going to be. I mean, we really aren't experts or anything of the sort, really.
I hope we've demonstrated, and if not, just to reconfirm that technology and our brand have been, they go hand in hand, but they've been pivotal in my success and of my career, and I assume that that will continue and grow even further. But one thing I really do want to drum in as well, and I know it may sound cliche, but I think the most important thing actually is hard work and persevering and not taking no for an answer. And I certainly, at the beginning of well, just before my career actually started, received rejection of all sorts and was told that things weren't possible. And actually, I always go back to one particular memory of, I was sitting, I think I was in a library doing like a postgraduate or pretending to or something of the sort. And I had heard the day before a song by Rudimental called Fill the Love. And I thought it was an amazing, really unique piece of music. That's when drum and bass started kind of taking off in the UK. And had a look up online who was behind that song, who the label was. And I managed to find a contact. It was a guy called Joe Gosser, who I actually know very well now. I sent him an email and I thought, I've got nothing to lose, I might as well send one more. And thinking I'd hear nothing back, as I had with other people. Surely enough, a week later, I found myself in a studio in London, a proper recording studio for the first time. Weirdly enough, with an ex-Girls Aloud member, I don't quite know where that happened, and with a one-hit wonder songwriter, and with a producer, and I'd never seen that before. I won't stand here, the point of this story isn't to tell you that we wrote anything amazing that day, I think it was probably dreadful. But what I did take from it was the fact that I discovered I loved being in the studio. I became addicted to that setting, and that kind of said to me, you have to do this, and go out and do that, do what you want to do. And I think the point I'm trying to make is that we today have the tools at our disposal more than ever before. And really the thing that makes a difference is the attitude of anyone can do this and actually going out there and bloody doing it. So that's really our conclusion, and I thank you very much for listening to us.
Thank you.